Hey guys, how you doing? I'm so excited to be back with you again today for my Tuesday at 7 o'clock live. And I was thinking about what I've been doing lately without even realizing it. I've been laying out the steps for you to get out of debt. So I'm going to reference some videos that I've done before so you can follow me along. But this is actually something that I didn't do on purpose, but I guess it's a series. So let's see now. I'm waiting to see real quick. I hope you can see me because last week my live the video was so glitchy and people started saying that it was more of a podcast than it was of a live. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed you could see me. And I've got my good friend Jan telling me that everything is good. So thank you, Jan. Anyway, so I've got my notes here and let's get started. So I asked you guys to leave a comment in the comment section or on Instagram asking me like any money questions that you have. Like obviously I can't give advice about like stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things like that because I know nothing about that. I'm starting to learn now. But I can say like what it took for me and my family to get out of debt and build up our emergency fund. And now we're starting to fund things for the future, which is so exciting. I can't wait for this Friday's paycheck. So that's going right to that. But I have been getting questions about like how did we do it? Like how exactly did we do it? Can I kind of lay out a plan as to how we were able to pay off $48,000 of debt? Actually, I think it was even more than that. But once I started tracking it, it was $48,000. And so how were we able to do that within 2 years? So that's when I was like, I'm just going to write down like a step-by-step kind of process so that anyone can get started anytime you want. Or if you're in the middle of it and you kind of want a little encouragement as to how to keep going, then, obviously, hopefully that's why you're here and I can help. So I heard this statistic, and first of all, like it really stayed with me. And I thought, I have to mention this because I was really surprised. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That really touched me because, as I've talked about before, like I've been where these people are, and I was living paycheck to paycheck, and it's so hard. It's emotionally exhausting, it's physically exhausting, it's psychologically exhausting. And to hear that as many as 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, I was like, we really have to do something about this. And hopefully there's my channel. I see Rochelle's on here. Hey girl, she's got a great budgeting channel too. And I'll link some of these channels down below at the end so you guys can go check them out. But she's another one. She could tell you that without a budget, there's no way that you're going to get out of living paycheck to paycheck. So anyway, so I thought I'd lay out these basic steps. Now, step number one, I actually got this idea from a comment from Vita, which I don't see that she's on here yet, but hopefully she'll be on here so I can give her a shout out. But Vita mentioned how important it is to have your partner be a part of everything. And I can tell you for me, that is 1,000% true. So I don't talk much about like my past because before my husband, honestly, like we're so happy and we have, the great kids and everything else. But we all learn from mistakes and we've all made mistakes along the way. Like I don't know anyone who hasn't at one point or another regretted a purchase or made a really big financial mistake. So I can tell you that in this aspect, I've been there. I was with someone in the past, no names, nothing negative about this person, but this person was a spender, like a spender, latest games, latest electronics, latest everything. So, of course, when you're with someone, you buy those things as well for birthdays and Christmas and things like that. And did I have the money for it? No. I always consider myself to be a saver. And obviously now it's different because now I'm in a much better situation all the way around. But back then I really thought like, oh, I'm a saver, he's a spender. Like that's just the way things are, but it's not. Like when I left that relationship, I left with debt. And it wasn't anything that I bought myself. It was presents. It was this, it was that. No vacations. I didn't go charging anything extra for me or anything like that. And I thought I was a saver. But no, I had consumer debt because of it. And again, nothing negative, but you do learn from your mistakes, and that's what makes us all human. So the way that I am now with my husband and how him and I are on the same page, that really brought me back to Vita's comment because it couldn't be truer. I can't sum it up any more than like, have you ever tried to run into the ocean when the waters are rocky? Like what happens if you try running in, right? And you try to jump a wave? You're going to get knocked back. You're going to get knocked on your rear end, That's how it feels, at least for me, when I was in that situation. Like, you're running against the current. And if you're not with someone and working with someone, whether, and I'm not just talking about a significant other, I know people who share a budget with their family members, with a spouse, with a friend, because they're living together and they have like expenses. So they join their money together in order to get by. So no matter where you are, if you have someone that you're sharing a budget with, you really need to be on the same page. And that's how you are able to succeed. Because if not, you're going to end up in your rear end. I always relate things back to food. I think if you listen back to some of my shows, you'll be like, yeah, she likes popcorn. She likes watching The Bachelor. Like, here's another one. So I was trying to lose weight. And this was back then. And my significant other was not, right? So, so one day I opened up the fridge and I just got back from the gym. I'm working hard, got my mind right. And I open the fridge and what do I see? I see one of those cheesecakes. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've ever seen this before. But it's one of those cheesecakes and every single slice is a different flavor. And I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but chocolate is, hello. Chocolate on popcorn, even better. But anyway, so I opened up the fridge and I see this cheesecake and I was like, oh my gosh. And then before I even thought about eating it, the first thought that hit me, because I'm still sweaty from like the gym, I got on like, my gear underneath. And I thought to myself, like, how many minutes will I be on that treadmill in order to justify that one slice of cheesecake, right? And what did I do? I closed the refrigerator door and I was like, saboteur. So the same thing goes for your finances. Like, I have a thing for handbags and it's been over a year since I bought myself one. Yay. But like, if I'm at the store, for example, and I have my card in hand and I see that my favorite designer, his purses are on sale, right? Before I go to use my credit card, I'm going to think to myself, like, wait a minute, instead of buying this purse, how much can I make a dent in my debt by taking that amount of money and throwing it at the debt? So it's kind of like the same mindset, whether you're losing weight or you're trying to pay off debt or get your mind right when it comes to money. Like, it really does make a difference to just be able to focus and be able to, if you're with someone, be able to say, like, we need to do this together, And if you're not, then maybe it's time to split the money and have a different budget so that you can continue to do what you need to do without being sabotaged. So, and also I have to tell you, like I mentioned before in last week, is I'm a family law paralegal. And so I see a lot of people who have, I mean, if you see these salaries, it's immense, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And when you look at their liabilities, like their debt, which I have to do in order to come up with this spreadsheet that helps out with everything, the amount of debt they have, making so much money, they're so much in debt. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So if you ever look at your debt and you think to yourself, like, I can't do this, like, there's no way that I can do this, I can tell you $48,000 is a huge amount of money for me and my husband. It's like climbing a mountain. And the fact that we did it, and if we could do it, I know that that means that you can do it too. So don't try to look at it as an obstacle you can't conquer. Instead, think about it as something that you can conquer. And when you really try and you put your mind to something, like, you can accomplish anything. And I mean, at least I can tell you, like, we're proof of it because we have 3 kids. Like, how much debt do you possibly have? And do you have kids? Like, kids, I love them, I adore them, but they're very expensive and a lot of our money goes to them. So anyway, so, and if you don't share a budget with someone, then you are on one step ahead of some other people. So step number 2 is to track your expenses. Now, I know I've talked about this before, and actually I have a video on how I went about creating a budget by tracking my expenses, and I'll link it down below. But before you can try to tell your money where to go, you need to know where it's going. What have you been spending it on? And when you do this for an entire month, and you start at the beginning of the month and you work your way to the end, once you're done with that month, now you have this roadmap of every single cent that you've spent for that entire month, where it's gone. So then now is like when you can think about, like, how you're going to change your life, right? If you are living paycheck to paycheck, or living not even paycheck to paycheck, not making it and depending on credit, then this is where you're going to have a roadmap so you can see, oh my God, I'm spending this much on this and this much on that. Now it's time to make a change. So now to me, that's where it got exciting because once I had that roadmap and the math work and everything was done and it's right in front of you, then that's when you're like, all right, now I'm gonna kill it. Like now I'm gonna see how I'm gonna be able to save money. So which leads me to step number 3, which is to lower your monthly expenses. Now, there's different things like when you're looking at it, right? Numbers are going to start jumping at you, right? Like how much are you spending on eating out? Isn't that an expense that you can either reduce or eliminate temporarily? I'm not saying don't eat out ever again. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, then that's something you should think about. Like instead of eating out, can you cook more at home? Like can you share the groceries with someone if you're living with someone else and see how you can go about making a shift to that money. So the next thing, of course, is groceries. Now, did you see my eyes? I'm like, groceries. I really truly believe that the most money that you can save, no matter what you do, no matter what magic wand you take out, and you're like, all right, I'm bibbity bobbity boo, my expenses are gone. Like where you can cut the most amount of money is with your groceries. I really truly believe that. Now, I have a ton of videos on this. I have some collaborations with Jan from New York City Saves Money, which by the way, her channel is fantastic, and I'm going to link it down below. But we have tackled this topic at least twice or 3 times on my channel, at least twice or 3 times on her channel. And so the biggest thing for me, my bill for groceries, it used to be between 270 and 290 a week. I was going to say a month. Oh my God. No, a week. I wish it was a month. That'd be awesome. For a family of 5, yes, please. But by meal planning and looking at what I had in the fridge, the freezer, and the pantry, I was able to cut that down. And it was a healthy one too. It wasn't any, once in a while we throw in a little junk, but for the most part, it was really healthy. And we were able to cut that down to $180 a week at the maximum. Now I try to go lower than that, which was actually a challenge that I did. I did a spendings challenge. I'm sorry, a savings challenge, spending challenge. And I had a lot of comments saying that you guys are going to join me on that. So that's so exciting. Let's see how we can save money together on groceries every week. And if you haven't seen my latest great grocery haul where I talked about that savings challenge, I'm going to link it down below. But being strategic with groceries, and it's not just meal planning. It could be anything from just using your leftovers right, like using your freezer to save anything before it goes bad. Just chop it up and put it in the freezer. And again, I have videos on that. Jan's got videos on that. And again, I'm going to link that down below. Other bills like your cell phone, your cable, internet, car insurance, bills like that. I have a video also on that I just did a few weeks ago, and I got a lot of great comments on it because people started saying they're going to call their providers right away. I'm like, I'm starting a movement. No. So anyway, so I have a video on that too because there are ways to negotiate your bills, and I know some people are like, I don't want to argue with anyone or anything. By making a few phone calls and being nice, I'm gonna say 2.5 hours, I made 4 phone calls and I saved my family over $1,200 a year on those phone calls. So I'm gonna link that down below too. And now, as you can tell, I've kind of been going on this series, right, without even realizing it. So as I'm coming down, as I'm writing everything down, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I did this, I did this, I did that. So step number 4, don't hate me. I'm just a messenger. But it's credit cards. Now, when it comes to credit cards, again, it's like going against the ocean, right? Like, I understand that, we are dependent on credit. And I'm not saying to anyone, like, cut up your credit cards and never use them again. No, I use mine still, and I'm still debt free, like I am, because I pay my bills at the end of every month. But I know a lot of you aren't there. And again, I just got there 2 years ago. So I'm not saying like I've always been like this because, I haven't. But you can't get out of debt by accumulating debt, right? Doesn't that sound simple? Like, yeah, you're welcome. But it's true. You can't. You have to stop using your credit cards, even temporarily, until you get out of the situation that you're in. Now, if you have a budget, which again, once you start tracking your expenses for an entire month, you continue to do that month after month. That's how you come up with your budget, because a budget isn't something you do magically in a month. There are bills that are quarterly, there are bills that are annually. So when you do it for a few months and you know where your money is going, that's your budget. So then now you lower your expenses, you stop using your credit cards unless it's for an item that's on the budget. Now, I use my credit cards. I use them because I'll get into another topic because I know I'm going to get people talking about, like, I shouldn't be talking about points and cash back and rewards like that. But I'll do a separate video on that later on. But when it comes to credit cards, if you budget it, if it's something that you know you're going to spend, like I know I am not going to go above 180 for my groceries a week, right? So I use my credit card. I do. And then at the end of the month, when I get my bill, I pay it with the money that I had budgeted for that item anyway. Am I going to I was about to say the name, my favorite retailer and buying a purse just because I had a bad day? Like, no, that's not how you get out of debt. Like, that's not what you do. In fact, I'm already out of debt and that's still not what I'm doing now. But you have to stop using them. I have some notes here because I didn't want to forget to tell you this. So I have my friend. She's hysterical. Like if you ever need a funny person to talk about finances to, she's the girl. I told her she needs to start her own YouTube channel. But she was a spender. Like she was a spender and she had a high mortgage and she had credit card debt. So a few years ago, she says to me, like, Debbie, like, I'm done. She took all of her credit cards, including her store cards, except for her ATM. She left the ATM in her wallet. But she took them and she put them in a little Dixie cup. She filled it up with water and she froze it. And then she wrote a little sign on the cup. And I had to write this down. And it says break in case of emergency. I'm like, that's smart, because if God forbid something happened and she didn't have enough in her emergency fund to cover it, and obviously what are you going to do if an emergency happens? Unfortunately, you have to use a credit card. If you don't have an emergency fund, what can you do? So, but she froze them. And now years later, she's not only debt free, she's mortgage debt free. I can't wait to be able to say those words. Can you believe it? Just by making that switch in her mind and saying, I'm done. And I think what happened to her, if I remember correctly, is that she was putting groceries on a credit card and the credit card got rejected at the cash register. So she had all those bags that she had to then leave there and have someone else put things away because she couldn't afford to pay for her groceries. And now years later, she's debt free and she's living in a mortgage free home. I'm like, that's a dream. Like, that's the dream, at least my dream. But anyway. So again, now that you've done that, now the next step is to learn to live below your means. Now it goes hand in hand, right? So you're tracking your expenses, you're lowering your monthly expenses, you're hopefully stopping using credit cards for any kind of consumer debt, right? But living below your means. I wasn't going to include this one because I think it's kind of tied into everything else, but I saw this online and I thought to myself, I've got to mention this. It was a little saying on Instagram and I was like, that's brilliant. It says financial success is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. Now my joke is like 20% head knowledge, like, oh, that's how I did it. But if you decide that you're not going to live paycheck to paycheck and you make that switch in your mind and you're like, no, like, I know there's something better for me. Like, I can do this. That's how you start deciding to live to live below your means. I had a girl named Sandy. I'm not going to give any handles or anything like that because I know people want to keep their privacy, on Instagram. And she wrote me a question. She said, you hear people say a lot that you have to live below your means. If I'm able to pay all of my bills at the end of the month without asking my family for financial help, am I living below my means? My means? What is your definition? I already answered her back, but I wanted to share this and she said I could. I love that she said my definition, right? Because we're no financial experts. Everyone that I'm on friends with on YouTube and that have financial channels geared towards like frugality and getting out of debt like mine, I'm not an expert. Like, I don't have a book written, I don't have a blog, nothing like that. But I love that she said definition. This is the answer that I gave her, and I felt bad, but at the same time, if someone's asking you a question about how you feel or what you think, then obviously the best thing you could do for them is to be honest, right? So I asked her a question. I said, if this is my definition of living below your means, if your bills are being paid every month, like she said, and it includes credit cards that you're accruing because of things that are not necessities, because they are wants, then I believe that you are living above your means, not below your means. Because you're still paying for items that are not necessities. You're still paying for items today using today's cash for yesterday's purchases, right? So you're not really moving forward. You're going against the current, right? So even though you're able to pay your bills, at least this is my opinion, even though you're able to still pay your bills, you're not making any headway because you're using consumer debt, right? Now, if that's not the case, which I didn't want to like pry, I wanted to answer the question either way so it could help out more people. If you're not paying for consumer debt, or you're not paying for unnecessary expenses when you're in debt, for example, and I'm sorry, I'm going to maybe offend people, but your gym membership. Like I had a gym membership before everything started and when I was dropping weight and everything, and I loved my gym membership. I also at one point had a massage spa membership. When it came time to look at my expenses and cut everything out, they were gone. They were gone. I have an app for free on my phone that I can work out at. Like there's YouTube, there's different ways of getting free information and free workouts that you can work out. So that was $78 a month. I still remember the number that I cut right out because I'm like, no, like that's a luxury for me. So again, this is me. So I hope I'm not offending anyone. But I do believe that if you are paying for luxuries when you're living paycheck to paycheck or paying for consumer debt for items that you bought before with today's money, even though you're not asking for help from your family or friends, like I do believe that is still living paycheck to paycheck. And if you can imagine not paying that debt and like for continuing for purchases that were in the past, and then using that money to be able to tackle your debt or be able to establish a little bit of an emergency fund if God forbid something happened that you don't have to rely on your family, like that's how, my opinion, you get ahead. And if you are using consumer debt, then even though you're paying your bills, I do believe you're living a little bit above your means. I'm sorry to say that, but that, again, my definition. So the next step for me that I would like to say is, with all that done, now it's about finding extra cash, right? So finding extra cash and automating your savings. So when it comes to, now I did a video last week on before, I'm sorry, about automating your savings, and I'll link it down below. And I'm actually going to be on the Neely show on Grandma's Wealth and Wisdom on Saturday at 1 o'clock on their live. And we're going to also be talking about automating your savings. And I'm excited because that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But finding cash, first of all, let's tackle that one, right? I one time went to a church purse bingo thing, and it was like a fundraiser for the church. And I actually won a bag. I don't win anything. I won this bag. And the bag, when I brought it home, I never even like, I mean, I like purses, but I didn't know that this brand was something that was expensive. I had no idea. When I looked at the tag inside the purse, it was $130. I'm like, it's not even it wasn't even my style. It was pretty, but it wasn't even my style. It wouldn't be anything that I would have kept. So I listed it on Poshmark, which is an app on your phone, and it was $130. I got $100 for it. Like, and I didn't have to do anything. Like I printed the label, put it on the box, shipped it out, and I got $100 like that. They take a little bit of a commission, the app, but it wasn't much at all. We've also used Facebook Marketplace. We've sold things on there. There's tons of other apps that help you communicate with people in your neighborhood. So something that's just sitting there collecting dust in your house, you can sell it. And I know a lot of people tell you sell a lot of things and things like that, but it is something that has worked for us. My older two kids, they wanted to do a garage sale. And so this was last summer. I hate garage. I like going to a garage sale. I hate doing one myself because it was so hot. And I was like, it could really be at the beach right now. And instead we're doing this garage sale. But they had a lot of fun. They sold their bikes. My son got $30 for his. And my husband sold his old computer. This thing looked like it could take off into space. It was huge. And he sold it for $75. And then I also got rid of a lot of the kids' clothes there too. And whatever didn't sell, instead of just donating it, I actually took it to our local consignment store, and it's listed, and whatever sells, we get 50% of for doing nothing, just giving them our items and signing a contract with them. Like they do all the work, 50%, right? Free cash. And there's also some baby stores that like use baby items that when you drop them off, they take what they want, they give you the rest, and you get cash right there for it. So I've done that as well. Now, finding extra cash, of course, can be everything I've just mentioned. But there's also extra money that some people get throughout the year that you don't really think about because you think like, oh, it's justified, it's for this or it's for that. Like I mentioned this last week, but like our holiday bonus, right? Some people think like, okay, well, I'm going to spend this much on Christmas and I think I'm going to get this much back on our holiday bonus. But it doesn't work. Not that it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I don't want to be judgmental at all. That's not where I'm coming from. But if you have a budget for Christmas like we do, like I knew exactly how much I spent the last 2 years and last year, and then I tried cutting back a little more, and I did really well too. And I had a little bit of a slush fund where I put a little bit of money, just a little bit out of each paycheck, and it adds up to a lot. So when we got our holiday bonus, it wasn't a reimbursement for what we spent. You know, we threw it at our emergency fund. Like if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you get one, throw it at your debt. Like there's no reason to get extra cash and think to yourself, well, I deserve it. Like I should just go away on a vacation, or I should just like do this, or I should just do that. You know, I deserve it. Like being debt free and like trying to go be debt free is like so hard. It's like, no, you need to be really laser focused, right? Tax refunds. I already know what I'm doing with my tax refund. I haven't even gotten my W-2 yet. I've got all my numbers. I've got everything. I'm ready to go. As soon as I get it, the appointment's done and I'm getting my taxes done. Social Security deductions. I talked about this last week and I got some comments on it because people are like, what are you talking about? In my paycheck, and again, because I've been working at this company for so many years, I know exactly when it happens, but around mid to late September, I get an extra little bit of cash in each paycheck because the Social Security deduction for my paychecks are maxed out, I guess. You know, I don't do anything extra. It's just what the state does. So it's maxed. Now I get this little extra bit of cash. And so like, I don't just take it and just put it in the savings. Any extra thing that we get, we throw it at what the next step is. So first we were throwing it at our debt. Then we were throwing it at our emergency fund, you know, and now we're going to be putting it into our Roth IRAs and everything else. Raises. People don't think of this a lot. They're like, oh, I got extra money. Like, okay, well now I can afford like a better car, or now I can afford to do this. It's like, no, take that money, take that little bit of money and automatically set a transfer into your bank account, automatically move it into another account, because if it's out of sight, out of mind. I had to do this, and again, I that's why I'm bringing it up, because if people are in a really tight financial situation, you know, like when people ask you like, what do you want for your birthday? When I was in a really bad financial situation, I said, you know, how about a Visa gift card? You know, that way I can buy myself something, you know, and everyone's like, yeah, that sounds good. Instead of getting you a specific gift card, they get you like a Visa gift card. I used it for groceries. I'll admit it. Like I used it for groceries because things were so tight, right? And then what did I do with the cash that I had allotted in my budget for groceries? I threw it at our debt. That way I got a free week of groceries, is the way that I saw it. And I got another payment towards our debt. And the stimulus checks, that's another one. Like if you can afford it, and you are living paycheck to paycheck, and you get this little bump from the government, like use it. Like don't spend it. Like immediately put it towards that debt. And that can really make a difference too. Now, I talked about this last week, but automating your savings, right? Every time that one of our expenses is paid, like I mentioned this before, but Emily's daycare was $285 a week. I can't say that without saying it that way. Let me try again. Emily's daycare was $285 a week, $15,000 a year, right? You know, that still gets deducted from our checking account, even though she's in first grade. Yeah, I was going to say kindergarten. Oh my gosh. Even though she's in first grade already. That's right. Because I automated it. Because even though things were tighter then than they are now, that $285 automatically goes into another account. It's not in my checking account. In my mind, I'm still getting paid the same amount of money that I've been getting paid for the last few years, because our raises go in there. Like the extra Social Security amount goes in there. My 16-year-old, it's been 2 years now that she doesn't have her braces on anymore. But that $130 a week, it's a week, a month that we were paying $130 a month gets automatically transferred. Again, it's still there. Like it's still there. My son, we just paid off his braces. So I'm like, yes. And then just this month. So next month is going to be the first month we're not paying for his braces, because that was a little bit over 2 years too. That amount goes right into savings. Like again, out of sight, out of mind. So you're not tempted, because you need to know yourself when it comes to money. And if you're the type of person that sees an extra $20 and you're like, Like, what can I get with that $20? Nope, 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 nope. Transfer it. And of course, then there's making more money, which is like the seventh step. Now, I hear the term side hustles a lot. And for me, my time is really valuable to me, and um, I can't afford to have extra time to do side hustles. But when there's overtime at my job, and anyone that works on my job, hi. If there's overtime on my job, like assignments I need to get done, like I don't think of it as a side hustle. I think of it as in that's part of my job. Like my job is to make sure that anything my boss needs, like I did to the best of my ability, you know? So I don't think of it as an it's extra money in my paycheck because to me it's my job and that's what I get paid to do. But when it comes time for them to say, like, hey, anyone that has any overtime, make sure to put it in. And I get that little extra. I'm like, hey, that is a side hustle, isn't it? I got a little extra. No, it's not. It's not like as much as you would make if it was a side employment or anything like that. But it adds up. Again, everything adds up. My daughter, I'm like so proud of her, my 16-year-old. So she's really crafty. And I can't wait to share with you guys like what she's doing when it's finalized. But she makes these crafts and they're amazing. She puts pictures on letters, and next thing you know, it's like a gift for your parent. You know, it's a gift for a graduate. Like she's so talented, so talented. I don't know how she does it, but she just came up with a website. She did it on her own in a matter of hours, and it's elegant. It's beautiful. It looks professional. So I'm encouraging her. I'm like, come on, like take your allowance, like start buying supplies that you need so that you can then make this a side business, make it a side hustle. And by that, of course, like I'm not going to take a cent of that. That's going towards her college, towards a car if she wants a car in the future. Like I'm so proud of her, but like that's the entrepreneur mentality, right? It's like take what you're good at, take what you're good at and make extra money on the side if you can. Like why not? Again, everything adds up. And people think like, oh, it's $5 here, $10 here. Like, no, look at things annually. Like I made an example last week about pizza, like getting pizza once a week, like you know, when you don't want to cook and it's $20. But at the end of the year, it's over $1,000. $20 a week is over $1,000 at the end of the year. Like that's how I really encourage people to look at money because that way it'll really encourage you to look at every cent and make the most out of everything. My girl here, Jan from New York City Saves Money, she's got such a great video on side hustles. I saw it and I was like, it got my mind turning. I'm like, okay, like, can I do this? Like, can I do something extra to get more money? And I already linked her video down below. So once this goes on playback, you guys will have that. I really encourage you to watch it. It's a great video. And again, you hear side hustles all the time, and there's a lot of YouTube videos about side hustles. I really believe Jan's is the best. I've seen a bunch of them, and she comes up with such original ideas. So anyway, I'll link that one down below too. And then the eighth step that I have for you is to own your debt. Write it down. You know, some people say get a credit report so that you can see what you have on there. Like I don't think you really need a credit report. I mean, if you feel like you do, there are free resources that you could use. And if you guys want any links to any websites that do free credit reports, I know a bunch. Just send me a message and I'll send them to you. But by owning your debt, you need to write it down. You need to own it. You need to see what mountain is your mountain that you're going to climb and conquer. Like and you can do it. Like you really can. And I'm going to tackle next week, I'll be showing you guys different strategies that you can use once you've written down your debt as to how you can not only achieve being debt free, but being able to throw every cent at it and making every cent count. Because some people think that if they tackle their debt a certain way, it's better than another way. But there are pros and cons of both strategies that are like the most popular ones out there. And again, my live next week, again at 7 o'clock, I'll talk about that. But like I said before, if my husband and I can do this, we have, you know, we're I mean, I don't like saying low class, middle class when it comes to income. Like we're like I don't even want to say in the middle. Like I guess I'll say in the middle. But again, 3 kids and a mortgage. Like this isn't something where we're living in a tiny little apartment, the three of us, and we're making all this money. Like no, like we have a mortgage, we have expenses every month. Like the kids, like 2 of them have braces, one of them was in daycare. Like it is expensive having children. It's so worth it though. It really is. They're my life. But if we can do this, anybody can do this. Anybody can. And it is just a matter of taking these steps one by one and just conquering it. So as you can tell, like, I really take your comments and your questions to heart. I really do. So if you guys have any video suggestions that you want me to do on any topic that I've mentioned or anything else, please reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at How Debbie Saves, and or leave a comment in the comment section down below. And I'd love to be able to help anyone else and out any way I can. But I see the comments popping up. Let me see here. Oh, yes, Jan and Rochelle. I mentioned you guys. Yes. Oh, Minimalism by Anne. Oh, she's excited about my broadcast. Thank you. Oh, Jessica's here. Hi, Jessica. Let me see. Oh, Pam Howe. Oh, she says, thank you. Here, let me click on this. Did I share? Yes. Thank you for choosing this topic. Looking forward to learning more. Thank you, Pam. You're so sweet. Oh my gosh, Jan's thanking me for the shout out. I'll shout out her channel every day. Vita, I was talking about you. You encouraged me to do the first step. So here, this is Vita. If you guys should really check out her channel. So she's the one that encouraged me to talk about the first step, which is getting in tune with your partner or any family member that you share a budget with. It's so important. It really is. Oh, Kate's here. Hi, Kate. Let me see. Kate says, right on, sister. Oh, Andrea's here. Oh my gosh. Hold on a minute here. You guys, if you guys don't follow Dr. Andrea, here you go. I call her Andrea. She is amazing. She gives you such clarity. I love following her on Instagram because it's like 5 seconds of psychology that clears your mind. And I really do believe that money and psychology are like hand in hand. I really do. Oh, she's happy to catch my live. Thank you, Andrea. Please, guys, go check out her channel. She's amazing. Let's see. Yes. Here Andrea's saying, like, it is important that she uses her own money. Absolutely. Oh, here we go. Strengths is my specialty, and you're owning this with your kids, Debbie. Love seeing your community here, too. Oh, thank you. So sweet. Let me see. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did something to the comments here. She's asking me if I'm sure I'm not a psychologist. Yeah, my paycheck says I'm not. She says, I've been keeping a spreadsheet since I began dating my husband, an accountant. Brilliant. Absolutely. My husband with his spreadsheet, he's the one that got me on board, and it really is a life changer. Oh, Vita says it's important to check your credit report. Here we go. Regularly. So you're not a victim of identity theft. That happened to a friend of mine. That's really true. That's really true. I just didn't want to say that was a requirement with these steps because I don't want it to be something where it's another obstacle for you to jump over before you get started, you know. But if you know your credit, like I know some credit cards, I know mine does this, is the same one does it. I have 2 different cards with the same bank, and they offer you a free credit score, which I think is fine too, because if he gives you like a starting point to say like, God, my credit score is this. And then at the end, when you're debt free, your credit can be like so much higher. And just that alone, it's like a little bit of an acknowledgement. Like, yeah, I did it. And not only did I do it, but I did it right because look at the score, you know. But a report to make sure that you're not a victim of identity theft is also very important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see here. Andrea's following all my peeps, and all my peeps should follow her too. Oh, Rochelle. Rochelle's been a victim of identity theft too. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. That must be so scary. That honestly I can't relate to that, thank goodness, but that must be so scary. I've gotten alerts before that someone's used my credit card. I mentioned that last week. It was a department store, and I wish that on YouTube we could talk about department stores, like specific names, especially when it's something so positive. But there was somebody in California that I don't know how they got my card. I hadn't used this card in over a year. I know when I used it last because I bought myself a really nice bag, but it was a little treat for myself years ago. So anyway, no, over a year ago. But anyway, I got this alert, and I got a call, and they're like, did you use your card in California? And I'm like, I've never been to California. No, I haven't. But are you kidding me? And they're like, nope, don't worry about it. Taken care of. They canceled the card, and everything was fine. But Someone actually stealing your identity, that's horrible. That's horrible. Let me see. Oh, ladies here. Hold on. Oh, you guys, she has another great channel. You guys, I please go check her out. She's awesome. She she's like Andrea, but without the psychology. Like she just leaves you light. Like her personality is addicting, and she just did her first live and she was like an expert at it. I was like, look at you go. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Does anyone have any questions for me before I go? I want to make sure I get to everyone. And again, next week at the same time at 7 o'clock, that's when I do all my lives. And I'm going to tackle 2 strategies and the pluses and like the positives and negatives about how to tackle your debt by using either or. Because again, money, I really think, just like I was saying about psychology, I really think everyone is different. Like everyone is different. Some people will want to conquer something like the biggest thing first. And some people are like, no, I need motivation. I'm going to tackle the smallest debt first. So I have that broken down for you. And I actually have a little experience in both. So I can kind of give my little insight on that. Oh, Vita too. She was a victim of identity theft. Yeah, it's really important. It really is. I was going to mention that. I actually crossed it off my notes because I just don't want to give someone else like something else to tackle before they can start conquering everything by looking at their by actually writing down all their expenses and starting to tackle down their debt. So, but it's so important to check your credit rating. You guys are so right. Oh, thank you, Andrea. She says she's looking forward to my video next week. Yeah, so I do lives. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. My goodness. Oh, she says motivation is everything. Absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%. And that's why I think it's so important that if you have social media, like follow people that are in the same journey as you so they can motivate you along. Like I mentioned last week, like I had to actually like unfollow people that had these luxurious lives and these luxurious like vacations and everything. And here I am like paying off debt and then tackling my emergency fund. And I'm looking at people like on yachts, like I'm like unfollow, instead you follow great like people like that are like same goal as you, because it really does motivate you and it makes you feel like you're a part of a community. You're not doing things by yourself, which can be so discouraging. But anyway, okay. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I do lives every Sunday. Oh, Sunday. My God. Every Tuesday at 7. And then I also drop a video on Saturday mornings. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys stopping by here and watching me on playback. And again, any topic you want me to cover, please let me know in the description, in the comment section down below or on Instagram. Oh, Andrea says community is resilience. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Absolutely. Well said. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Bye.